Hello friends, in this video we will be demonstrating about planning tiny figures, suggestive figures in a given watercolor context so that they enhance creating stories. I have taken a small watercolor paper, Indian watercolor paper, Indian handmade watercolor paper, and I have pre-wetted some of these areas, and on top of a pre-wetted paper I am applying a pale wash of ultramarine blue and a touch of violet. So some area in the sky were left paper white so that we get some suggestion of clouds. So at the bottom I am using a pale wash of I am giving a pale wash of burnt sienna and also giving a touch of violet to make the darker tones. And at the horizon I am giving a little bit of burnt sienna and blue mixed together so that it suggests some sort of a distant objects at the horizon. And once it is dry, once it is fully dry, I am planning to create some boats. See, the primary objective of this tutorial is on the figures, so the context is not that important. So we are just creating a context so that we have an opportunity to create figures. I am using red color, maybe vermilion red color, so that we get a warm, attractive boat, and the shadow is created by a mix of burnt sienna and violet. Here I am using a pale wash of yellow ochre, or I think it is rose sienna, and at the bottom I am using a little bit of burnt sienna to get a variation of colors for the boat. And again the shadow is burnt sienna and little bit of violet. These shadows give a good indication of the play of light, indication of light. And I think now I am planning for figure. So these figures are created from imagination. First I have suggested the head and then the upper body, and since the figure is on the other side of the boat, I just create only a half portion of the body. The second figure is created just to create additional interest. A single figure doesn't really create too much of story, so I am planning a couple of figures around that the first boat, and two figures looking facing the viewer, and the other figure facing the other side. Okay, now I think we need to add a couple of figures for this the left side boat as well. So when we create these figures, we are doing it in a very suggestive way, and while doing that we have to pay attention to the perspective and the relative sizes, etc. So I am not using very vibrant colors here because these figures are mostly on the shadow. I mean, it is not, I felt it is not that important. You could give bright colors if you wanted. And this figure seems to be good. Oh, that leg went too big, so we may have to make the figure little bigger to compensate for that. So it might, that figure looks little bit too big than ideal size, but it is okay. Right, now some shadows for the figures, and the shadows should be consistent as much as possible, and some poles. These are additional attractions. If you think these kind of tutorials and narrations are useful for you, please consider subscribing to my channel and pressing the notification icon so that you get notified whenever I release my new videos. Okay, now some faces with the orange color. Okay, the orange color gives the body, I mean, it is an indication of a suggestive way of indicating body color. and yeah, some touches for the faces. Since these figures are very tiny, these kind of suggestions are more than enough. Only thing that you have to be little clear about sketching people and about the perspective, etc. I'm using some thick white pigment watercolor to suggest some highlights, so that it will pop up, these figures pops up. If you have any questions or suggestions, please do let me know in the comments, so that I can try to improve those suggestions in the future videos. Thanks for watching this, and we'll see you in the next video, where we can practice more figures or other watercolor techniques. Hope you are finding this useful. As I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment box below. I'll try to get back as much as possible. So once again, thanks for watching the video, and I'll be eagerly waiting for your feedback. See you in the next video, and until then, bye.